Well, in Voka Africa, we also bring you the latest books that are being published around the country, and which will incite some interest from you. Today, we focus on a book titled Dehumanise, Get the Most Out of Your People. Now, it's authored by Aiden Choles. Very good morning and welcome to him. He joins me now in studio. Aiden, this book interests me no end. Thanks very much. Why Dehumanise, Get the Most Out of Your People? Just give us an overall summary of what the book's all about.
Right, well, thanks. Good morning. Well, in the work that I've been doing for the last 10 or 11 years, I've been going into organizations and running research projects focused on gathering people's stories about their experiences at work. And over time, I've been hearing more and more similar themes coming from these stories, whether they are large corporate organizations, smaller organizations, regardless of the industry. I've been hearing one common theme coming through these stories, and people will tell me stories about their experiences of work where they would characterize their experiences as lacking a certain humanity at work. And I've been hearing more and more of this theme coming through our stories at work. People are experiencing a profound lack of humanity in their work. You speak to them one-on-one, they'll tell you about incidents or experiences where relationships with colleagues have broken down. There's been a lack of respect. They're struggling to find meaning at work. And that's why I've written this book, Dehumanise. I've wanted to put a message out there that actually takes this conversation about the lack of humanity at work a little bit more seriously.
I want to touch on a few things that I've noticed in the book, and it's a section you put on sick leave, compassionate leave, and all other ways ineffectual employees avoid work. There are ways to deal with rather unreasonable side effects of hiring humans. Absenteeism. You tell a story to illustrate this. Can you remember that story?
No, I can't. But okay. I think it's maybe important to remember that the book is a satirical management handbook. You know, and I wrote it as a satire because I wasn't sure that in management circles and in the way that we think about our work, that this idea of just reclaiming humanity in the workplace would be an interesting idea. So I turned it on its head. I channeled my alter ego, so to speak, and I wrote it as a satire that is really taking a mirror look at this issue of humanity in the workplace. And my hope,
the lack thereof.
Exactly. And my hope is that we can read the book, managers and employees alike, because it's for everyone in the organization, senior or junior. And my hope is that we look at this book, read it, maybe laugh at ourselves a little bit and look at it and say, well, this is actually a ridiculous idea to dehumanize our people, to get the most out of it, but then actually realize that the more that we look at the DNA of our organizations, that this is actually a critical conversation that we need to have, because we may be not facing up to the extent to which our work and the way we set up our organizations, the way that we pitch up to work as employees, the way we manage people, is creating a state of dehumanization.
And often it doesn't cost anything to give someone a pat on the back, which will increase his productivity.
Well, exactly. I mean, I was having a conversation with a friend the other day and we were saying, well, you know, what is it? Is it productivity or profit? And we realized, but actually you can have both. And I think this is the tension that I'm wanting us to talk about in organizations, and hence this is why I've written the book, is that I want us to have this critical conversation. Because, you know, are we too fluffy for profit, or are we too hardcore for heart? And we get caught in between, and I'm hoping that we can have a conversation, a serious conversation in organizations about how we find a balance, because actually there is an opportunity to find a middle ground between both. And organizations that I'm seeing be really effective and productive in today's business era, also ones that are profoundly healthy when it comes to the state of humanity at work.
And I guess you talk of capitalism and trying, for many companies, it's trying to get as much as you can for as little as possible.
Yeah.
And that's where problems arise, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that's the pressure. I mean, I do acknowledge in the book, and this is what I hear when I listen to stories of senior leaders and managers, the pressure that we're under to produce is immense. And sadly, what I see happening is when we succumb to that pressure in an unthinking way, people then become second. And leaders are under pressure to produce results, but then also in the social kind of discourse that we've got is to then acknowledge the role of people. So you'll hear leaders coming out and saying something like, people are our most important asset. And that's a wonderful statement, because you look at the history of work, and there's been a progressive rehumanization of work over hundreds of years. Work is getting better. Our human rights are a lot more central in that. But in the book, again, I challenge this notion that people are assets, because fundamentally human beings are not assets. And this is the tension that we've got to face up to, is that if we come to work expecting to be an asset, we will be seen through our job title, and we will be measured as such, and we will be related to as such. But we can't show up as assets. We're human beings. There's a lot more to our humanity that we've got to find expression to. And this is what I'm trying to challenge in the book and create a conversation about, is that often people feel like, well, my humanity is a dangerous thing in this organization. It's like a dangerous weapon. I've got to check it in at reception. And I want to forge a new conversation that allows us to bring the hardcore profit-focused productivity, because we need successful organizations. I really believe in the power of organizations. But I'm really disconcerted when I hear the thousands and thousands of stories that I've collected where people are struggling with the state of humanity at work.
And I guess, obviously, is the book aimed at people in management or business owners?
It's aimed at everyone. It's aimed at senior leaders, because they're the guys who have the most powerful voice in setting up the organization, in deciding the culture, the way the organization works. It's aimed at general employees. Because this is one of the challenging things that I find, is that if you're a general employee or even a junior employee, there's a lot that you inherit when you come into an organization. And the pressure there is that this is the way it is, this is the way the organization works, this is how you have to show up, and you have to accept it that way. And so the book is aimed at both audiences. And I think I'm particularly passionate about young entrants into the workforce, because with them I see the possibility of them reauthoring their work story, so that they don't get to the state where a lot of the senior leaders that I encounter and speak to feel that it's almost too late to change their people management philosophy. They're too far gone down this route of following the buck, the golden handcuffs, the pressure to perform, the status that comes with their title. And so I'm catering and I'm looking at anyone in between new entrants into the organization and very senior leaders.
Give us the details. Where can people get it?
It's easily available on Amazon.com, paperback. It's on Kindle as well in ebook format. It's available via my website, narrativelab.co.za, where you can order copies, and then it will also be in exclusive books this month.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Aiden. Choles, Dehumanise. Very, very interesting. If you're part of not only a small organization, a big organization, getting the most out of your people, by Aiden Choles with Paula Marie. I appreciate your time this morning. Best of luck with the book.